Diddy is not the only one who had them freak offs. If Diddy is, you know, woo, 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 and Cassie definitely is a victim, Diddy ain't the only person going down. So y'all want a story time about how I unintentionally attended a freak?
Well, compared to what's going on now, she getting sued by 2 dudes and some other people coming up from the background complaining. And even what Adam 22 said, sorry to pause it so early, but you got to put this out there when you hear stuff like that. Even from what Adam 22 said when he was saying he knows the guy that runs the company that Diddy and Cassie were getting the girls and the dudes from or whatever, right? Like he knows the dude that runs that whole thing. He said he told Adam, he said, yo fam, every time it was Cassie calling. And apparently I think he was saying like sometimes Cassie would call by herself without Diddy, like just doing stuff on her own. Like she was setting everything up. She was the director, set the scene up, all this other stuff. And Diddy was like, okay, all right, you got it. Some people would say Diddy turned her out, but some people was like, would be like, oh no, she was been like that. Because even when she was dating Ryan Leslie, when Ryan Leslie was 26, 27, and Cassie was like 17, 16 at that time, somewhere around, you know what I mean? So it's always been in her, you know? So, I mean, hey, take it for how you want it.
I think it's crazy because people think that only Diddy started these freak offs, but I'm pretty sure anybody in the industry can tell you exactly how often freak offs happen.
Every weekend or every other weekend, depending on where you're at. If you're in LA, it's every weekend. Sometimes it could be a Tuesday, a random Thursday night, a random Monday night. You know what I mean? Like I said before in the other video about this, they're just orgies. That's all it is. You can construct the orgy any way you want. Sometimes it's one girl and a bunch of dudes. Sometimes it's a bunch of girls and a few dudes, you know, and then it's a freak off. Come on.
No, this was back in like 2016. It was in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm gonna get straight to the point. Invited out by a group of people that were in the entertainment industry because I was a dancer and I had pulls and connects. I had girls, so like anybody else that was in that time, everybody wanted to go to Atlanta. Atlanta was the Black Hollywood. So I go to this,
still kind of is, right? Sort of. Oh.
This restaurant, nice ass restaurant. I made a comment that I was cold, and these people literally brought me a personal heater. Like, I mean, to me that was something because I was young, and it's like, okay, little old me, okay.
You ain't know nothing.
Fast forward that night,
this is all new to you.
3 men, and this is at the hotel. It was 3 men. I was family with one of them. So mind you, I was supposed to have 2 separate rooms. Everybody was in one room. I'm the only female in the room. That was the first red flag. I didn't care because I just knew at the end of the day, like, I could call up a female and it's Atlanta. Like, come on now. Hey, we go to this party that I wasn't even intentionally invited to. It was like I was just a +1. Mind you, I did know the dude very well. It wasn't like he was a stranger. No, we had done plenty of shows together.
Now, these parties have been going on since the early 2000s and 90s. 2016 is late, for real. But at the same time, around that time, like, these parties have been the same things you hear about what's going on in, like, the freak-offs and everything. It's pretty much the same as been going on in all these parties in the 90s and in the early 2000s. They were just never called freak-offs. So when they were talking about the stuff that was going on in the parties, I'm like, this is like a regular thing. They just changed the name to freak off and it just went viral. Go, it's a Diddy term, the Diddy thing. It's a Diddy party. No, Diddy is not the first person to be doing these. I'm gonna tell y'all something. If you listen to early episodes of Lip Service and you listen to Gigi McGuire, that's Angela Yee's podcast, but listen to the stripper Gigi McGuire will retire. Gigi McGuire talk. She's actually going to be, I think, featured heavily in the Magic City. She's going to be a narrator, is she? The Magic City documentary coming out. But Gigi McGuire talks about these parties all the time. And one of the rules is, hey, if you don't engage, you got to go. Yeah, talk to strippers. They'll tell you about rappers and people invited on the parties and groups of girls coming and going. And she's right. They do take care of you. They take really good care of you. If you need something, they got it. You want some peppermints? They'll get you some peppermints.
I don't want to name drop, but like I am just to show credentials. It was Jessica, Dom, Melissa, Stevie. We had to work with a couple people. Okay, at the time, Love and Hip Hop was just starting out. So
what, bro? What are you talking about, man?
Yeah, I kind of had to put that. Because listen to some of these stories, you be like, all right, maybe they could be telling a real story and add a little bit of fake stuff in there, but you never know. But sometimes they really do be messing up dates and stuff. It's like real stories, but you might mess up one thing. Then the whole internet think you're lying because you messed up 1 or 2 dates. Who knows?
Later on that night, it was a party, and it was a masquerade party. Did not know too much about masquerade parties. I just knew that it was this big mansion masquerade party, and everybody had to wear masks. So walking in, everybody had the type of mask that you wear to your face. If you didn't have one or brought one, they had them like at the table as soon as you walk through the door. Mind you, you did have to have a code, like a secret word, to get in. And once you get in, it was literally just like a regular mansion ballroom type of thing. So this is where it get crazy, right? So my homeboy, or whoever you want to call him, he's an older dude. I'm younger. You probably would have thought the nigga was my sugar daddy, but if you know, you know. And for the people in the SIP, if you know the only man that I was hanging around and now he's locked up, you do the math. And no, it's not Diddy. Be for real. So anyway, this whole mansion party, it was like, you wouldn't have known if it was any celebrities there, like I said, because everybody had on masks. And I don't think this had anything to do with like no. So the guy that I'm cool with, he wanders off and he leaves me because there was like this back room. It had a red rope and it was security standing there. And if you did not know anybody, like you had to know somebody to get in this back section. Okay. It's like alcohol. But y'all, the alcohol was not the same type of alcohol that I drink now. And I was not a drinker until I started dancing.
They definitely have spiked the alcohol. Yes, that happens. It's a thing that happens there.
So it really makes me think now how.
So bring your own drinks, BYOB.
Much I honestly.
Well, you probably can't in some places. It depends. If you know the person in some of these places and they say, yeah, BYOB, because they probably be spiking drinks in that motherfucker. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Did not remember, like, I don't know, minutes. He comes back. He says immediately, y'all, we got to go. Y'all, when I tell you, when we get back to the room, this man act like he had seen a fucking ghost. And he literally told me, I'm trying to get straight to the point as possible. There were Asian kids that were performing sexual acts on Caucasian men. There were Vietnamese or Asian kids, again, serving Uggs on trays, dancing on top of tables, basically entertaining these men. And it was different rooms. It was room after room after room.
This is not a freak off. Yes, I went to a freak off story time. Nigga, this ain't no freak off. This is some other shit. This ain't no freak off, dog. I don't even know why you put freak off in the title. This is not no freak. Nigga, this is a trafficking part. This ain't no freak off. Come on.
Wrong.
I heard about something like this in one of these parties after the fact that I heard about this going on in Mexico. You'll hear stories about businessmen, people that work for different companies that buy and purchase things in large quantities. One of the things that were being trafficked is Asian kids, like Chinese girls and stuff like that. And they say a lot of these times these white businessmen would go and have these girls sent up to their rooms through them. Like it gets real. Like I heard about this way overseas before, you know, then I heard about it, like, oh, now they're in parties over here. And I'm talking about years ago. So she's seeing this and she's talking about 2016 or whatever. So, you know, she's young. If 2016 for 2016 for me is like, okay, that's almost right around the corner, even though that's like damn near almost 10 years ago.
With this going on, he said that he was so disturbed because he had kids young. He had kids older than the kids that were doing all of this stuff. And the kids obviously had been so used to it. They were.
No, hell no. I wouldn't even put it like that, nigga. I got kids that are older than these kids that said, no, these are straight kids, period. Hell no. I don't care how old this nigga's kids is. Hey, man. Hey, Leon S. Kennedy. Get your ass. You know what I'm saying? Jill Valentine, Wesker, where you at? Jake, where you? Chris Redfield, nigga. Get your.
So honestly, it had me thinking, if a grown man is spooked out behind what he saw, how?
I'm gonna tell you, like I said, most of the trafficking goes on outside of the states. Most of it goes on outside of the states. We have very little trafficking here, as much as you see it on the very visual with the cameras and catching, you know, pedos and all that. The trafficking goes on more because you hear about more cases of kids and then people interacting and seeing these kids and they're saving them. And these kids can't speak no English. And they're usually other Spanish, Vietnamese, Chinese, whatever. None of them can speak English. This is not, most of it's going on overseas. That's where you get the little thing with where, you know, at the docks when they have the shipping containers with the kids or the kids' pictures on them. That's where that, you know what I'm talking about?
Till that day, y'all, when I say he was, like I said, promoters back then were not the same as promoters we're not the same as promoters now. Promoters back then actually booked people, like I said, we booked numerous of celebrities at the time, and it was never no problem. And like
I can't even believe promoters still exist today, which is crazy. I thought that promoter era was gone in 2012. Like, come on now.
I said the names that I dropped had nothing to do with this freak off, so that was just for credentials. But he stopped promoting, he stopped doing music, and he's also locked up right now for, like, I think drug charges, I don't know. But he was never the same.
Drug charges? We talking about spiking drinks. Maybe some of his clients was in that party. Maybe he went to that party and he sold them niggas some shit and didn't tell you. That's why he really went there. Or this time he went there, sold something, and then really kind of like got out. He was like, oh, okay, this is the first time I'm seeing this. I didn't know y'all was doing this. But here, let me say that. I'm just saying, I don't know. Some diabolical shit can happen behind the scenes. You never know who, you know, what they into. You know what I mean? Like, I never knew you did that, Rob. What the hell? Yeah, man, but this time he dared me in this place with these kids, man. It's crazy. I got to get out of here. But I made that money, though. I made about $700 real quick. You know, so I don't know.
After that.
Just guessing. You'll hear crazier stories than that. Hey, man, what do they say? Stranger than fiction.
He saw, but a couple years later, after this whole Justin Bieber yummy video came out, y'all, that stuff made me sick to my stomach, because as soon as you walk in, it was just go watch that.
Justin Bieber, yeah, I saw that video too. So Justin Bieber has seen some stuff too, obviously, and he just won't speak about it. And he knows things have been going on. It's probably been eating him up. And he's probably been thinking about it for so long that, oh, maybe I was forced to do stuff. You know, the whole rumor going around with him and Diddy and all this other stuff, right? So now it's probably eating him up. You know, the whole drug thing, him being high, probably dealing with certain things that he saw, maybe certain things that he was forced to be a part of. We don't know. You know what I mean? But the Yummy video has some cryptic stuff in there. I'm not going to post the video now because of copyright stuff. I don't know, like with the visuals, they might be real heavy on that.
If you ain't watched the video, but that's basically exactly how it happened. So I say that to say this. Diddy is not the only one who had them freak offs. If Diddy is, you know, and I can fact check everything. But anyway, stay tuned for the next story time.
I wouldn't even call it. So that was the whole thing with the Diddy thing. The Diddy thing, he really went to court, and then, you know, the drugs, people saying, oh, there was drugs involved. The thing with the Diddy thing was pretty much like the Cassie abuse. And people were trying to figure out, they never even got to the bottom of that. They were saying, did you see any underage girls that Diddy had got? Apparently, there were some girls that say they were some parties where they saw girls dressed up as like Harajuku style, kinda. They're kind of like dressed up in that style, like Harajuku type style. And they were girls that looked underage, but they didn't know if they were underage or they had makeup on to make themselves look underage. The girl that was in an interview saying, I forgot who it was. It was somebody kind of popular too. And she was like, yeah, I went to a Diddy party and I was in the house and had these Harajuku dressed girls and they looked underage. She was like, I don't know, but they looked it. Now, were those girls in the free calls? We don't know. Maybe years from now we'll come out and, you know, but during that court case where he was in court with Cassie, it never came out. It was only a question. But that was the real thing they were trying to catch. You know what I mean? Other than that, it was like the whole, I forgot the law with the boxer, and they put that on him for, you know, prostitution over state lines and the RICO and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? But she went to like some brothel somewhere. Of course, it wasn't an actual official brothel building, but the facility they went, not facility, but I guess the house they went to, it was like a house turned into a brothel with that. That wasn't no, I mean, you could say a freak off with kids, but I mean, you could put it like that. But I wouldn't even compare these, like with Diddy, we heard about grown men, grown women. You know what I mean? So far, that's what's been put out there to the public, and everything else with the underage stuff has just been skeptical. Yeah, fam, you ain't go to no freak off. You went to a straight some wild fucked up shit, man.
About how one of the most famous rappers of their time Tried to lie.
I don't know what cuts off there, but no. They just weren't called freak offs. Nobody called them that. They even go on and like if you know Lala Anthony's cousin Poe, the light skinned girl, she was talking about these going random, these going in studios, big houses with different rooms, and sometimes they have a dungeon room with like they invite dominatrixes over and all type of stuff. I remember Poe said she walked into a studio. It was supposed to be a studio session. She was like, yo, there was one going on in the studio. She had no idea. And she was just like, yo, fam, I'm gonna come back.